It was at this moment that he knew.
I'm lagging. Hey, yo, today we're talking about some nerfs. We're talking about some buffs. We're talking about season 15 after I just had a very lengthy discussion and conversation with game balance designer over at Respawn Entertainment, John Larson. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new as always, comment down below for a chance to win 5,000 Apex coins. The winner from last video is in the pinned comment down below. And don't forget, don't fall for the Telegram scams because they're not me. Saying all of that in one breath was honestly typical. Can't believe I did it. But hey, today I wanted to cover a few nerfs and buffs or changes that could be happening in this next season. Now, I had this long conversation with game balance designer John Larson yesterday over on Twitter, and these are not saying that I have all the patch notes or that all the nerfs and all the buffs are right here in this video, but these are to mention a few. There's a really loud motorcycle that just came past my house. These are a few highlighted ones that I wanted to mention. So firstly, let's talk about Loba and the conversation that I had with John Larson just yesterday. So firstly, the context of where all of this was coming from. A couple of days ago, I made a video about Loba and how one of the Respawn developers honestly made an uneducated response saying that one reason they didn't want to buff or change anything about her tactical was because that she was untrackable, which is totally wrong because you could see this extremely bright blue line of where she went and also hear the audio cues of where she landed. So she's definitely not untrackable. Maybe it was just a misuse of words there, but that definitely upset a lot of people. So after I did this, Samathe made a little clip of that video over on Twitter and was tagging John Larson in trying to get a response. Now, there were some people who were actually spam tagging him every single day to try to get a response out of him. I think that's why some people may have interpreted John Larson's response here as mocking. But anyways, Josh Medina basically said he was at TwitchCon, that he'll be answering some questions, but there's simply some things that he can't answer about. So John Larson said, can you confirm that you'll be replacing the Hammerpoint Mozambique in the arenas with a 15-second cooldown for the Loba tactical ability? Now, a lot of people interpreted this as mocking the community because a lot of people had been suggesting that Loba's cooldown for her tactical needed to be updated or changed, considering the fact that it shouldn't be 30 seconds long. Maybe it should be 15 seconds long. Some people were even saying that it should be similar to Pathfinder's in the sense that it only counts about how much distance you go. He answered a few other questions basically saying, I just don't think it's as simple as changing the cooldown time, and I don't really like the Pathfinder grapple situation. He just said, I don't think that that fixes everything. Now, one of the responses though did say Loba's tactical ability is literally the worst movement ability in the game. You're stuck with an animation before and after landing. The travel time is slow and the whole lobby knows exactly where you're heading to. So why is the cooldown necessary? Why give a character that has so many downsides to their ability with such a high cooldown? She's punished already for simply activating it. At least have the higher cooldown for a legend that moved their whole squad up to a freedom while using it. He responded by saying, I guess that's sort of my point, agreeing that it is probably the worst movement ability in the game right now. And he said, if it's the worst mobility tool in the game, is allowing the player just to use a punishing ability more often necessarily a good thing? It feels like putting the cart before the horse. Diagnosing why it often feels punishing is what I'm getting at. I'd love to advocate for more than just a cooldown reduction, and I think your points on the travel / animation times and visual / audio cues are more interesting as the avenues to explore. And I like that response. So I said, I actually like this idea. One bone to pick I always had with Loba is the bracelet on paper sounded like this beast of an aggro legend. With the slow animations and travel time though, it made her feel very boring to me. I wouldn't mind a long cooldown if it was a quicker use of the tactical. And he said, well, there's a balance to strike there. The main reason that we as Respawn have not touched Loba in a while is because as the loot specialist, she is very good at what she does. Holistically, she's far from trash tier. Turns out when good players have good loot, they actually have good results. That power might not be felt to moment. That power might not be felt from moment to moment, but she's definitely viable at the high end of the loot aspect. I don't think that her tactical should ever be the main appeal of her kit. We don't want the loot specialist to also be a top tier skirmisher. There are different avenues to explore there. Long cooldown, but big impact out of the one charge, lower impact, but shorter cooldown of 2 charges, etc. So I responded, said, no, that totally makes sense. I always love a good Loba on my team for sure. Not doubting at all that her ult makes her strong. I just wish that her tac maybe felt, I don't know, more fun, but that would probably require a slight nerf in a different category, which probably isn't the goal either. I don't know. It's tough. So he finished the response saying fun doesn't always have a 1-to-1 correlation with power. I agree. It can be made more fun. I don't necessarily agree that it should be more powerful. I was very glad that he took the time out of the day to respond to me and give us some more insight about Loba. Now, there were a lot of people though replying to this thread and giving their insights about Loba and why he was wrong, why he was right, so maybe different avenues that he should explore. Even the coach for TSM here said, compared to the Vantage Q, it has both a way longer cooldown and it's a worse ability. John Larson responded, said, yeah, I'm not arguing with that. I actually compared the two specifically in a super official fancy playtest feedback email a few months back. See the snapshots here. I was mostly giving feedback on differences in visual / audio cues. You guys can see those differences on screen now. I think some people definitely made some very good points. So Crowrindo made a modded version of what these faster animation times would look like. So take a look at this clip.
Throwing jump drive. Throwing jump drive. Throwing jump drive.
So when it comes to the Loba situation specifically, I'm very interested to know what you think about it. Now, some people were just downright bickering at the guy and not really offering any insight, but rather just attacking him. So it gets kind of annoying because they've actually came out and vocalized that the reason that they stopped speaking to the community as much as they used to back in the day is because they found out it's not quite as beneficial to speak to us whenever all they do is just get attacked and harassed over on Reddit or in the Twitter comments, and nobody wants to listen or have actual discussions. Well, I say nobody, but people do obviously want to have those discussions, but the trolls over on Twitter just block out all the goodness. So it really sucks that people like that ruin it for us all when we could honestly have a lot more insight about what they're up to. But regardless, I'm very interested to know what you guys think about Loba. Now, speaking of Loba and the direction that we were talking about here about her tactical being more fun, we do know that there's going to be another tweak coming after Respawn had their Reddit AMA and asking a question about will Wraith ever receive a tweak or a change, and they responded saying absolutely. Now, a lot of people were wondering in the meantime of this Reddit AMA, did they capitalize or were they saying absolutely because this tweak is very close by, maybe season 15, or are they just being generic saying that yes, maybe one day we'll make a change? But speaking of Loba's tactical being a little bit more fun to use potentially, the senior game designer for Respawn Entertainment actually had something to say about the Wraith tactical before he left the company, so I can't say that they're still leaning in this direction, but I did just want to let you know that they were thinking about this right before he left. He said something along the lines of saying that Wraith's tactical obviously is not as fun as it used to be or as flashy or didn't feel as good as it used to, although he did agree that it didn't want to just directly buff it. They wanted to find a way to make it more fun while not making it too powerful. So when Respawn game designer respond and say that they absolutely have a tweak for Wraith coming, is this the tweak that they're talking about? Because it doesn't really sound like a direct nerf or buff. We also know that they're looking into making some changes to the scanning legends, that being obviously Crypto, Bloodhound, Seer, possibly even Valk. I mean, she does scan. It's a little bit different though. This question actually came up a lot in this AMA, and one of the responses that we got were saying that we understand the frustrations around legend abilities that scan and their tactical dominance at higher levels of play. Some of these abilities, however, are core to the play patterns and identities of the legends themselves, so it's not a simple task to address. We are actively looking into it, and listen to this, play testing potential iterations. So they're already play testing some of the changes that they may have in mind, but we want to be comfortable with the changes that reduce the frustration without reducing the value of these legends in the squad before any release. Another response that we got about the scanning abilities that are in this game was coming from the same game designer saying, I cannot speak about future changes at this point. However, we are aware of the concerns surrounding scan abilities in the game. Bangalore's smoke hard countering scan abilities has come up before. For context, a lot of people have been asking for maybe Bangalore smoke to counter all the scans. That way Bangalore is a little bit more viable. He said, but we are more keen to find a way to address the frustrations with scanning abilities as a whole rather than enforce on her to be the answer to the problem, especially if the result would take away from Bangalore's personal play potential of her own smokes. Basically saying they don't want Bangalore to be targeted as like a defensive legend against scan abilities, but rather an offensive legend to use the smokes to be aggro. We also have some other changes coming to legends that I'm going to talk more in next video because it's not really a nerf or a buff, it's just a change. I don't know, I know that's kind of hard to understand, but I'll explain it all in tomorrow's video. One question I really wanted to ask you guys is, what weapon do you think needs to go into the care package? Honestly, I love the Wingman, and I think the Wingman is one of the best guns in the game, even despite the nerf of putting it as a sniper weapon and having the ammo a lot less likely to be around. That thing is still out of this world good, and I honestly think it deserves a spot in the care package. I think it's been there before, but I really think it should probably go back. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like on the video if you guys did enjoy, subscribe to the channel if you're new as always, and don't forget to comment down below for a chance to win 5,000 Apex coins. The winner of the last video is in the pinned comment below. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. It's Vibrate, only positivity. Go down in the comments and just make someone's day better, not worse. And until the next time, I'll see you all later, Gators.